Good morning, everyone. There was a question raised on my previous video yesterday about the failure of economists and libertarians to understand governance, and of course this is not a topic to be considered and disposed of in a mere few minutes. However, it appeared that the interpretation of my comments were that we need to have kind of a socialist Nordic kind of a model, which of course, as anybody who's been reading my work knows, that I strongly oppose. And I oppose it not for the fact that it is an ultra-capitalist system, which it is. It's got the highest levels of freedom in the world, and businesses compete and live on their own merit. It's an extremely competitive capitalist economy, these economies. But they had gone overboard over the past, after World War II, and now they finally pulled back because they realize it's not viable. But anyway, that's not the kind of model I'm talking about, and the European Union is not the kind of model in terms of regulation that I'm talking about. But I'm talking about the principles here, and the principle is that businesses will cheat if given the opportunity and if there is no consequence. And what happens here, I want to discuss briefly the reputational mechanism, which has been devised over the many centuries as an appropriate and effective mechanism to regulate market behavior, self-regulate essentially. So in which what happens is that if you have a bad reputation, consumers don't come to you. And I think it works very well in a few simple cases. For example, if you have a tailor who produces a bad trousers or whatever for you that you have asked him to stitch, you're not likely to go back to the same person again unless there is very strong justification, or if the person has apologized and made amends and so on. So I had a case of I've been sending flowers to my mother in India every year through a thing called Floral India. And these companies, I've actually written positive words about this company, but obviously the management has changed, and now the quality of service, not only the quality of service, but their integrity has fallen. And I had a dispute with them. I have no time to litigate further with them. I'll simply switch to another person. Reputation is built through repeated interactions, and when the expectations are not met, then you report it to others. I will remove my comments about this company, Floral India. I will actually potentially, even I don't have time, but if I had time, I would write something about what happened. And this way, the reputations of companies are built through this communication of information that we have gained through our interaction. What I was going to say here in this regard, however, is that, and in fact, there are two things I want to say. So let's quickly summarize. One is that reputations are underpin the very existence of companies like eBay and even Airbnb and Uber and so on, because what they're doing is they're ensuring through the feedback process that all the players, the consumers and the suppliers, their reputations are built and understood by everybody. Therefore, you can rely upon people with high scores. And so that's how the companies self-select for the good reputations, for the good people, for the better quality businesses, for the ones that actually provide the service that they're talking about. And therefore the market can solve that problem. As we can see, the reputation does work. It's a very effective medium. I would strongly advocate market solutions that support reputational mechanisms. However, there's a large number of cases in this regard. When you go to the internet, how you have product reviews and you have trusted reviews and you have this and that company. And what you then do, and we had this experience recently when we went to India, there was a website through which booking.com or something, I think it is, yes, booking.com, through which my son picked a particular place to stay. That turned out to be a real disaster, and then he'd been complaining to booking.com, and something probably happened in terms of the remedy. But really what happened there is that these people were putting in fake reviews. So what is going on is that businesses will cheat. No matter what you do in the private sector, there's always this bunch of people who are trying to cheat. These are fly-by-night operators. They believe that it's better to make quick money and run away, and so they'll repeat that process again if possible. So the market's very large, and these people have plenty of space to hide. So what's happening is that this review process of reputation building has been badly contaminated. In many cases now, you cannot trust the reviews. Even on Google review, you'll be absolutely foolish to trust what's written on Google review, except for maybe Amazon, where there's no particular self-interest involved, and it is a book, after all, it's only an opinion about a book, which is $20 or something. But when you talk of big things, bigger things, you start seeing fake reviews. A lot of businesses are cheating. And so what we see here is that even in the case of reputation, businesses will cheat. So this market is constantly going to, attract all sort of shady characters. In this case, again, to build to strengthen the reputation, I don't believe in licensing. I don't believe occupational licensing or other mechanisms will resolve the issue, because there's a governance issue involved, and that's very complicated. And not only what Stigler said, which everyone knows about, but also there are many other issues about incentives at work, detailed incentives at work, and the lack of information, and the fundamentals, the impossibility of regulation, let's say, in some cases. You're almost close to impossible in terms of regulation. What you can do is you can have negative licensing. If somebody does something really bad, you can then prohibit that person from operating in that area. But anyway, back to the issue about this cheating on trusted reviews, or whatever they're called. They're actually pretty fraudulent. Let me tell you, I've personally experienced them. And so there is again a role for government in such a thing as well, in supporting a reputational platform. And I've written about this a few months earlier, I think, about the need for the government to actually build and maintain a reputational platform. And I can talk about this at more length separately. I have no time right now. But what we're seeing here is that even on simple matters like reputation, markets cannot perform in all cases. They will perform in a few cases like eBay, Airbnb, and so on. There's the kind of the company has a self-interest in ensuring that there are honest reviews and honest customers and honest suppliers and so on. But in a case where there is no guarantee of like Google reviews, Google doesn't check whether you're actually a customer, whether you actually had an experience. It's very costly to do that. It doesn't have data on that particular issue. So then also fake people. You can set up an account and write a lot of positive reviews about your company. And so I've had this experience, and reputation has therefore not worked. So this summary of what I'm trying to say is that our job should be to understand incentives at all levels, in the markets and in the government. And what is going on here is that a lot of people take shortcuts and go for occupational licensing, and there are a lot of economists who will actually recommend occupational licensing, and they're really doing the wrong thing. What they should be doing is talking about how to strengthen the reputational mechanism. And in terms of the actual governance, as I said, there's a complete blind spot, and I won't go into details again. I've got to go now. But essentially, the issue is that the economists simply do not understand governance, most economists. And as a result, what they've done is they generally are providing useless and irrelevant advice to developing nations. And they're also educating people really badly. So, all right, that's all for today. Thank you. For now, maybe it's something in the evening. Thanks, bye.